Well. Clemson 48, Virginia 31 is your final. I'm your host, Jordan Bowman. Welcome back to another edition of the Clemson Postgame Live here on the Clemson Voice of College Football YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was a interesting game to kind of take in. Slow start, really nice middle, and then a very interesting finish. Me and Tiger Paul Craven are going to break it all down. But before we do that, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you're a new viewer. We're trying to grow, and it would be greatly appreciated. Of course, if you want to support the show monetarily, the super chat feature is available, and it makes sure that your comment is read. But I don't want to waste any more time. Let me get on my co-host, Tiger Paul Craven, live from the softball fields. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Jordan. I am live from the softball field. I'll give y'all a sneak peek right here. See, live from the softball field.
Love it,
man. In action. But yeah, what a game, Jordan. I've had a quite an interesting day of softball already, and then watching that game simultaneously, it was interesting. I think is the word that comes to mind. A little annoying at times. I wouldn't say I was mad, but just annoyed. Eye roll at times, but you kind of laid it out perfectly. But just a weird game, I feel like. Obviously, coming into it, you had Tony Elliott, coming back home, if you will, returns to Death Valley for the first time. Dabo Swinney coaching against a former assistant as a head coach for the first time. Not only did Tony Elliott coach for him, but he played for him. So you had all that, and then CJ Spiller getting inducted into the Ring of Honor. There was a lot of stuff coming into this game. The beginning, started off a little slow again for the second week in a row, but really got it rolling in the middle, and kind of leaned on Virginia. And then obviously we all saw that ending, and I don't know what that was, honestly.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, this was a very interesting game to just kind of take in. Just a lot of frustrating moments, a lot of sloppy play um, on both sides of the ball, really. But you know, it never you were never in danger of losing. Like that's the good thing. Like when we've talked about it, when Clemson has played like this year, you've never felt like in danger of the other team getting back into the game or them losing. They always seem to pull it out. And that's a very stark difference from last year. But man, I'm still kind of I still have some questions as far as like some of the decision making, some of the execution on in key moments in this game that were just kind of lacking. But at the end of the day, you still won by 3 scores, put up over 500 yards of offense for the what is this, like the third straight week. Um, so it's put up 48 points, and again, this game was never really in doubt, especially after you got rolling in that third quarter. But man, you just a lot of things that made this score look the way it did, and I think we should definitely have some conversations about things, moving forward as far as like what this team needs to improve on and what things to expect, from this group. Because again, this is one of the easier games left on this final stretch, and so you're going to need to be able to kind of put some things together, and and this kind of performance wasn't necessarily what you had in mind. I think I predicted 42-17, and I was looking pretty good. About 5 minutes left in the in the fourth quarter. I was like, man, I pretty much nailed this. And then you put in the backups and you give up two touchdown drives, um, and make that score look a little bit different. But I think we should start just kind of. We'll start with the first half. What kind of things did you see? Obviously 17-10 at the half. There were a lot of things that you saw that was just so frustrating because the game really shouldn't have been that close in the first half. Especially when you look at the yardage difference and the statistical advantage that Clemson had. So, what did you kind of see, from this team and kind of the things that they need to improve on moving forward?
Yeah, certainly, man. Improvement, I think, is kind of the theme for, I think, this post game live for us. There's some things that Clemson really needs to clean up, if we're being honest. Um, and with the expectations that have built throughout this season, I don't know that we came in with quite the expectations that we currently have as a fan base. But just judging how this team has played since that 31-point loss to Georgia, expectations have started to build for this team. And if we want to be in a position to achieve those expectations, you've got to start cleaning some of this stuff up. And you ask about the first half. The first half for me, we started slow, first of all. I mean, the defense came out, got a 3-and-out, and that was good. And then the offense drives right down the field, gets in the red zone. Cade Klubnik misses an easy throw that he should have made, would have been a touchdown, turns a touchdown into having to settle for a field goal. I think in the first half there was some uncharacteristic just mental errors for the Tigers today. Shooting yourself in the foot with penalties and all sorts of stuff to just stifle drives. Um, so you have to settle for a field goal there, and then eventually Virginia goes down and they tie it up. And then Clemson turns the ball over. And as soon as Clemson turned the ball over, it was a terrible mistake by Cade Klubnik. I don't know what he was seeing. It was just a bad decision, and it went about as badly as it could because they intercepted. They get the ball with great field position, And, credit Virginia, they capitalize on it. They take it in and they score a touchdown, and suddenly we're down 10-3. And my thought process is, oh boy, this is how you get into a difficult situation with a team that you should not be struggling with at all, right? But credit Clemson's offense. They go down and immediately answer and tie it up. And then obviously put that touchdown on the board before the half was over to go into the half 17-10. So I think you ended the half a lot better than you started. But there for a portion of that first half, I was kind of wondering if we were going to have a 2023 reminiscent game that Clemson was, going to turn the ball over and continue to make these mistakes to keep Georgia in the game, because really that's what it was. It was Clemson Virginia in the game. It was Clemson handing Virginia opportunities to stay in that game early in that first half. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about just the penalties, man. This was by far their least clean game as far as penalties was concerned. Just a lot of undisciplined play on both sides of the ball, but particularly the defense extending Virginia drives. And then just on key, third down, you give up a 3rd and 17 in the early in that first half on one of Virginia's scoring drives. Like on a quarterback draw. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Oh man, the third and 17.
That was so bad, man.
That Castellon converted. I was so mad, furiated, because I remember us talking about that during the breakdown of the game when we were giving our preview and talking about you can't let him escape from the pocket. And if you start letting him create outside the pocket, it's going to be 3rd and long and he's going to convert with his legs. And then there it happens. And you talk about the penalties, Jordan, just to give you the stat before you finish your thoughts on it. 10 penalties for 97 yards was Clemson today. That is not good.
Yep. Way too much. Way too much. And it just like I said, it really helped extend Virginia drives. And now some of them, a couple of them, I didn't care for. The face mask on Peyton Page was there was.
I think that was a bad call.
Yeah. But still, it was a very just penalty filled day in general, and you can't. Against anybody, you can't afford to give teams lifelines like that, and that was kind of the thing that was most frustrating, because Virginia had 98 yards. I think they finished with 98 yards of offense in the first half, but they had 10 points, and it was only a 17-10 ball game. And you had just over 200 yards of offense, but only 17 points. Very easily, probably could have had 27, 31 points. Say you split those 2 red zone trips that you split, or you score on one of those red zone trips and you don't throw that pick. That would obviously, the score looks a lot different. And so that was kind of the biggest frustration for me was it was not clean football on either side of the ball. Cade, I thought, he definitely settled in, but he was not particularly accurate today. Just kind of, it seemed like the easy stuff. He was throwing the ball too high. Kind of getting out of his mechanics on some of the simpler throws. And then he missed Jake Brenningstool, wide open down the seam, nobody covering him. And then he missed Jake again in the end zone, completely butt naked. And Cade just sails it. Yes, and just he had a couple of throws just throughout this game that were just kind of, okay, you got to hit those. Like, those are routine throws, and they were either too high or too low. And it's like when he gets out of his mechanics is when you start to see the kind of erratic ball placement. And so I thought he kept battling. He mostly made good decisions, but the pick was really bad. That definitely his worst throw of the year. There was nothing there, and he just he threw it right to the line. Even if that linebacker wasn't there, it was that.
It was still a bad throw. Yeah,
Stellato on that crosser. He still had 2 guys on him. There was no making that play. he needed to throw it out of bounds or try to get what he could.
Yeah, I mean,
With his leg.
I don't think Troy could have been more not open on that
Yeah,
play than he was.
yeah,
So I'm not really sure what Cade saw on that. And you talk about the throws, Jordan, and you know there were quite a few, far too many in this game. I think of just gimme throws that you have to make. You mentioned the ones in Burningstool. How about that one to Olsen Pat Henry when he's streaking in the end zone,
yep.
towards the
That
corner
was
of the
nearly
end
an
zone,
incomplete pass.
and yeah, and he, you know, he just puts it behind him.
Yep.
And luckily the corner wasn't in great position because it would have been a pick in the end zone if he would have been in good position because it was kind of
You're talking.
behind.
Oh, you're talking about on the Reds. Was that? I think that was
Yeah.
to. I think that was Josh Sapp.
Oh, was that the Josh Sapp? Okay.
Yeah, the one that he rolled out and
Yeah, he rolled out to the left, and
yeah,
then threw it to him. But thankfully, the cornerback wasn't in good position because it would have been a pick six in the end zone, or not a pick six, but a pick in the end zone, and the ball would have been going the other way. And then I could think of one to Troy Stellato across the middle on a third down where he threw the ball just far too low. It
yep.
was a complete pass, but we didn't get to convert that third down. And Troy Stellato would have gotten the first down if the ball hadn't been thrown so low. So there was just, you can come up with quite a few examples, and Cade just seemed a bit out of sync today, almost like he was just, I don't know, a little too antsy. I don't really know how to describe it, but he never seemed to. I mean, he settled down in points and times in the game and really threw the ball well, but it was just all throughout the game. Every now and then you would just see a throw where you're like, "What are you doing?" Like it's an easy throw, and he didn't make it. And got to clean some of that up. But he made a lot of good throws as well. So
Oh yeah,
I don't want to act like it's all bad and he just played terrible and made a bunch of bad throws. But there were some definite. He definitely left 2 touchdowns on the field today with bad passes in the red zone. So got to clean that up. But overall, I think Clemson got going that middle portion of the game that you were talking about earlier.
yeah, absolutely. And we, that's kind of been a staple of Clemson has been winning that middle late. And, they pulled it together after that first quarter. Scored 2 consecutive touchdowns heading into the half, and then scored on the opening drive of the second half, and then it was a 24-10 ball game. And then you get a stop, and then you rattle off 21 points in the third quarter. And so that's something that Clemson has done really well this season. Is they jump on teams, especially in that third quarter. I think combined between this game and Wake Forest last week. You've outscored your opponents 49-0 in the third quarter. So that's good football right there. So good halftime adjustments on both sides of the ball because the defense got stops and dialed up some of the pressure. And the offense was definitely running a lot smoother, and they were hitting plays, even despite some penalties. Guys were making they were making catches. Cade was a little bit more accurate, and so that was more of what we've gotten used to seeing from this team. So I do think this game probably feels a little bit different if you don't have those 2 sloppy touchdown drives allowed by the backups. But I still think there were a lot of moments in this game, just even from the starters, that there was just a lack of focus. So that's something that they'll definitely need to get cleaned up. But it's not anything that I'm like taking too much away from. But it is something that you got to continue to make progress there, because it's not the idea when to put your backups isn't to let the other team score. Like you still run your regular offense. I offense and defense. I wonder kind of I'll have to go back and watch, especially on defense, kind of what they were doing. I don't know if they were just sitting in base defense and letting Virginia just drive down the field, or not. But you got to play better. You got because some of those backups they're not all like true freshmen. Like some of them have been in the program and should know better. And just you're getting pass interference calls. You're biting on double moves. You're just not playing sound football, not communicating, letting the running back leak out of the backfield, which is
Yeah.
something overall this team has done pretty well at stop. They haven't been like killed in the flats, especially by running backs this year. So that was kind of disappointing. So just continuing to see this group grow, because I felt like especially the second string, they took a step back after I thought they took a step forward in getting stops last week. So I think, like, all in all, you did not play your best game by any means, but you were still very clearly the better team and dominated most of the game. It's just I think you won't be able to get away with some of the sloppiness against better teams. I mean, you play Louisville next week, who gave Miami all they could handle just now. I think they lost by a touchdown. So, like, you're gonna have to you get it at home, but again, Louisville they have a lot better athletes across the board than Virginia does, and Jeff Brom is a seasoned coach that has a lot of experience, and he's going to be, Louisville is going to be ready to play, and I would like to keep the winning streak against Louisville going. So I think this team in general, you got to clean up the penalties defensively. You got to make sure that guys are communicating. Just a lot of times Virginia caught you not lined up. That was infuriating. It was like, okay, at a certain point, okay, it happens once or twice. You're like, all right, we obviously we need to make an adjustment to make sure we're getting the call in sooner and guys are ready at the snap. But it happened way too much. I thought the coverage overall was pretty good by the first team. On the back end, didn't give up a big passing play until that fourth quarter. Jaden Lucas had a really good game today. Shout out to him. He was really great in coverage. He had some tough responsibilities. He was on Malachi Fields.
That's really 2 games in a row for him that he kind of bounced back after having a really rough day. I think that was against Florida State, where he had a really rough day and kind of got pulled for Ashton Hampton. So that's kind of 2 games he's put together for Jaden Lucas to, you like to see a guy rebound like that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's really kind of settled in, and he's playing his best football right now. Just really good in phase, good coverage. Again, he was guarding. He had to guard Malachi Fields at multiple points in this game, and he was really, really good. Didn't really allow much. And Avion Terrell got a sack today. Continues to be really, really good in coverage. That was a great play call. It was I think it was a double corner blitz, and AV got home. That was just a really, really well timed call by Wes Goodwin on that. I think that was a 2nd and 1 too, just to kind of get some numbers there, and they caught him. And that's my thing. It's like, this defense has moments of brilliance. I think Wes at moments has moments of just when he's in his bag, and then sometimes they kind of play a little bit complacent, a little bit passive, and that's how you get that's how you allow some 3rd and 17s and some just sloppy penalties, because it seems like that motor is not consistently there with this group, and that's something that you need to be able to get that throughout an entire game and not just in spurts when you need it. You want this defense to play a complete, more complete, because they have the talent. I don't think that's a question. They're a really, really talented group, and they have some really, really good playmakers. But it's just, the consistency in the motor has just not been there. And that's how you get those sloppy plays that extend Virginia drives, and how you give up big plays in the fourth quarter. So I just
Now batting, number 14.
I think that's really the biggest thing with this group.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, and we gave this defense and the team overall so much credit last week for the complete game that they truly played and just finishing. right? Especially in that fourth quarter, just finishing. And we've seen a couple times this season where the twos, particularly on defense, come in, and there's just kind of a lull there. Sometimes it looks like a lack of effort at times. Sometimes it's just not executing what they're being asked to go out there and execute. And today, with those two big, blown coverages for Virginia in that fourth quarter, that just, it's frustrating to watch stuff like that. And it's happened on several different occasions this season, and I think it's something that obviously the coaching staff is aware of, and obviously it's something that they're working on. But we just got to do better at finishing a game, and just keeping what you're talking about, that same intensity throughout the entire game, and not letting, not playing to that scoreboard. I know that's like, a coach speak type of phrase right there, not playing to the scoreboard. But I mean, really, that's what Clemson has been caught doing in some of these fourth quarters late in games. They've been caught playing to a scoreboard, and then they have a lapse in coverage or a lax execution, or they're just not playing with the proper effort. And suddenly, you got a team scoring 2 touchdowns and doing onside kicks, and that first onside kick almost went terribly for the Tigers. I was like, oh God, here we go. But we recover it. We go down. The one thing I will say is I love the aggressiveness of Dabo Swinney there, of just being like, put K back in the game, and we're going to take a deep shot with TJ Moore, and it goes for a touchdown. I really like that, because I think that's something you needed in that moment. But yeah, I would like to see this defense start finishing these games a lot better than they have been at certain points in times this season.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to think, when Dabo made that call to put the starting offense back in, he was like, okay. I thought when he took them out, when he took out the starting offense and defense, he thought, okay, we'll just kind of the clock, we'll run the clock out, and the defense will keep them from just going right down the field and scoring. And then all of a sudden, they go down and it's a touchdown, and they get the 2-point conversion, and now it's a 2-possession game. And then it's like, okay, I don't think I can trust my backups to close this game out and just execute that kind of stuff. So that's why he, after you recover that onside kick, you go and put the offense back in and get that touchdown. And I think that was kind of the the thought process there, was like, okay, I don't really have the cushion that I thought I did. So let's go ahead and make sure that we get out of here unscathed and without any craziness at the end of the game.
Right. Yeah. No. Like I definitely think it was needed, especially in that moment. It felt like, this game never felt like Virginia was going to come back, but you did need some sort of kind of body shot to Virginia to just be like, nope, we're still right here. We can come in and score when we want to, right? And that's what that score kind of felt like. Now Virginia scored again, unfortunately, due to a breakdown in coverage and, just not doing your job on defense. But that score was definitely needed, and it was nice to see the focus of a first-team offense coming back in and doing that, right? Because you expect that to happen, but that's not really the easiest thing to do, right? You go on the sideline, and basically it's a massive substitution, and all those first team offense guys, they think their day's done. So to mentally kind of transition from that to, hey, Dabo's telling us to get back on the field and we need to go get a score, and then to execute that, I think that's something positive that you can take away from that situation. With their ability to be able to flip that switch from, oh, our day was finished, oh, now we got to go score, and just, kind of put a little bit more distance between us and the opposing team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, other than that, I mean, again, it was not a clean game by any means, but there were certainly, a lot of, standouts. Offensively, I think MVP has to go. I think it has to go to Olsen Pat Henry. I think he had just the best day, from blocking and in the receiving game. You could probably argue Antonio Williams too, because he was brilliant again. But I'll probably go with Olsen Pat Henry just because he was so good today, and kind of had a little bit of a breakout game when Jake Brenningstool had to go to the he had to go get looked at by the trainer and didn't get as many snaps. Just really, really nice plays, and good to see him get an opportunity. That first touchdown he scored, that was just all, made a guy miss behind the sticks and battled his way into the end zone. Good throw by
Yeah, I mean
Cade.
that was
I
a
think that was
great
on third
physical
down.
play. It was
Yeah,
a great physical play on Olsen Pat Henry's part, and how about that? 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, 51 yards. What a day for him! Great to see him finally get a little bit of reward for all the work that he's been doing all season, because really he has had a very positive effect on this offense this year, and to see him get to a 2 touchdown day, I think is pretty special and pretty rewarding for a guy that's been doing some of that dirty work in the tight end position all year and been doing a really good job of it. A guy that didn't come in as a really good blocker, but definitely has developed into one.
yeah, absolutely. And he's only going to continue to get better, and that's exciting. And I hope that he continues to get those kind of opportunities. I thought the offensive line played really well today.
Yep.
They really, really physical. They got a lot of push. Ran the ball pretty well. Pass protection was pretty good. Just another good day for this group. Gave you a chance on every single play mostly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm been really pleased with how that group has played and how they've continued to play. They're going to be, and they're going to continue to grow as well. This is just a really, at least your starters are a really, really cohesive unit right now and playing at a high level.
Yeah,
Phil
absolutely.
Maffa,
They're playing really good.
yeah, absolutely. Phil Maffa, another solid day, had 2 touchdowns. Felt like he was kind of a step slow today. I think he got injured. It's probably
Yeah, I feel like early in the game when he kind of I can't remember if it was a pass or a run around the right side of the offensive line, and one of the cornerbacks or defensive backs came in and kind of hit him in the legs, and he
yeah.
kind of went off the field. And I never saw him go to the injury tent, but he did look a little slow getting up. And then the trainers were kind of talking to him over on the bench there. So I don't know if it may be some kind of soft tissue type of injury where he just kind of got that thigh banged up or something. But he looked to be okay.
Yeah. And
18 carries
good
for 78 yards. So
Yep.
pretty good day for him.
We'll take that.
Oh,
saw you saw Jay Haynes get in there, make some really, really tough runs.
I thought he
good to
looked
see
really
him.
good today.
Yeah,
I
he
thought
did.
he looked really good today. 7 carries for 30 yards for him, 4.3 yards a carry. Yeah, really solid day for him. It looked like he was running strong, man. Like just running through contact, keeping good contact balance. Trying to get extra yards. I thought he looked really solid out there today.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else do I want to give a shout out to?
TJ Moore,
we talked,
4 catches
yeah,
for 78
TJ
yards.
Moore. Yep, got that touchdown at the end. That was nice for
Yep.
him because he very easily could have had a touchdown.
Yes. he got missed by Cade. Cade threw that ball a little high. Although I think if you give TJ Moore that same ball one more time, he probably catches it.
He might come down with it. Yeah,
probably a little bit mad at himself for that. It wasn't a great throw, but I think TJ Moore could come down with that ball. But yeah, nice to see him get that touchdown in the fourth quarter to kind of make up for that one early in the game.
And then he had the deep ball in the end zone that
right.
He almost got over his shoulder. It ended up being a pass interference.
The pass interference. Yeah.
So like he could have had 2 touchdowns in this game. moon ball by Cade, but it was a beauty.
He throws those every now and then. It's like, is this ball ever going to come back down?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like it stays in the air for so long, which is probably why the DB ended up committing the PI, because, you know, he's like, oh God,
His internal clock was like, this ball has to be coming down by now.
it's got to be coming down. I got to grab him. But got there a little early. Troy Stellato had himself a good day again.
Yes, Troy
Stellato.
Stellato.
Week in a row. So the unfortunate injuries in the receiving room are providing a lot of opportunity for Troy Stellato over the past 2 weeks, and he is definitely capitalizing on it in a big way. So he's been a big portion of the offense for the past 2 weeks.
Give him some orange slices and an ice pack, because good Lord, man.
Oh man,
he got Troy. I've never seen a wide receiver at Clemson get this many, like take this many hits. Because he had, you know, you had the reverse pass to from Antonio Williams to him, where he has to sit up under that ball for a long time before it comes down, and he gets rocked. And then on another catch, I think that was on a third down. It was just short of the sticks. I think he caught a little crosser, and two defenders just kind of barreled down on him. He takes one hit and then another one, and then the other defender comes and lays another one on his upper body. I'm like, I don't know how that man is still alive. And then, but I was like, man, well, at least now we know why he's been injured for so much.
That's right.
His career. He cannot avoid.
That's how he got injured in practice this year, I'm sure. He got thrown one of them balls and got rolled up by the defense.
If you've watched The Sopranos, Paulie would call it anti-Italian discrimination.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. I pray for Troy, man. But another really good day for him. Made some really big catches. Just continues to be consistent. Consistent hands, one of the most reliable targets on the team. Good,
definitely.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Not that he had like this great day, but that scramble drill by Cole Turner, that was a really good job by him, and good job by Cade. I thought Cade was sacked for sure on that play.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how he escaped the pocket, and then kept his eyes downfield, and Cole Turner was just kind of sitting there wide open, waiting for the ball. But that was just a crazy play that sticks out in my mind from the game, where it was just, I don't know quite how Cade escaped the pocket on that one, but good on him for it. But Cade ended up with a pretty good day too. 23 of 35, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns. We won't mention that horrible interception that he threw, but
yeah, man. Yeah, it's funny we do. Yeah, and that's the great thing. We talk about Cade not looking his best, and it's a 300+ yard, 3 touchdown day.
Right.
Like last year, when we said Cade didn't have his best day, he was, you know, it was a 15 for 27 for 110 yards and type of day.
Yeah, we were barely eclipsing 100 yards last year. So yeah, it feels good to be able to, you know, still have some critiques for this team and this offense, but be able to put up an offensive performance like you did, right? It just shows the progression of this team. Again, another, I think, what is this, the third week in a row we've gone over 500 yards of total offense, 539 total yards today, 345 through the air, another 194 on the ground. You know, it shows the growth of this offense. And, you know, even with the 539 yards of total offense, there were a lot of big plays left on the field today. And, you know, those plays will matter later in the season when the competition gets a lot more stiff, when you start playing a lot better teams, especially if Clemson ends up in the ACC championship game, playing a team like Miami or SMU, who's playing really well as well. And then you get to the playoffs, and and the talent increase is going to be substantial. So,
Oh yeah.
I know we're blowing these teams out, and sometimes me and you on these post game lives, I think some people think we can sound a little pessimistic or a little too down on the team for little mistakes and stuff that they make, and I think we're very happy and grateful for this offense that we have. So make no mistake about it. But just thinking about the future, and like I said, the expectations for this team has grown throughout this season, and because of those new expectations, you got to clean some of that little stuff up, because it will matter when the competition gets a lot more fierce, if you will. Those little mistakes will turn into you lost the game, by 3 points or whatever.
Yep. Absolutely. And it just, again, we're complaining about the defense and kind of giving up kind of giving up those late scores. But there were a lot of standouts defensively. I mentioned Jaden Lucas already, really great in coverage. Avion Terrell on the defensive line. Peter Woods just continues to be really, really good.
Man, we missed that guy, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did.
Like, it's almost like you don't know how much you miss him until he comes back in the lineup and you see the impact that he has on the game, right? Yeah, that dude he's ridiculous. I'm glad he's on our team. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely insane, man. TJ Parker got another sack. Continued. I think he's still the team leader. I think it's like his 5th or 6th sack on the year. Good to see Stefan Green back. I was just glad to see him out there, because he's been out the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Of course, Vic Burley continues to not be out there. So hopefully they can get him back up to full speed.
Number 3.
But yeah, I thought it was a solid day from the defensive line. I think they finished with 4 sacks on the day. So got pressure. You got home a good bit. Just a couple of moments where you got too far upfield and you let Calandria escape the pocket or go up the middle, for some gains. But all in all, like Virginia had basically no run game. That continues to be a strength, for this group is kind of just that interior. Teams are terrified to run up the middle, and they've been just trying to do whatever they can to get the ball to the perimeter. So, good on them. Linebacker play spotty at times. I kind of question some of the. I don't really know how to put it. Just some of the. I don't even know if it was just completely the linebackers just not making plays, but I think some of the decision, the play calls in some moments were kind of questionable. But I'll have to go back and watch the tape. I thought overall they were fine. Wade Woodaz and Barrett Carter both made a couple of nice plays in coverage. Sammy Brown got a sack today. So I think just sometimes it's something about this group. They kind of embody this defense in terms of they have moments where they play like the all ACC, all American caliber linebackers they are, and then sometimes they play kind of passive. So I just want to see more consistency from them. Trying to think of, do you have anybody else that you wanted to point out? Oh, I thought RJ Mickens was good. Who else?
Yeah, talking about RJ Mickens, I'm glad you mentioned him. He's just like, I feel like he might be the most consistent guy on that defense for so far this season. You just know what you're going to get with him, and it's really good. I'm glad we got that guy back this year. I think I don't think that return can be understated, because it doesn't always show up in the game on the stat sheet and stuff, but the stuff that he does for that defense and how consistent he is and the leader he is on the back end, He's a big deal back there, man. And he to your point, he had another great day. And I just like his season overall has been, I think, pretty special already. And I think it's just going to get better. So,
Absolutely.
enjoy the last year of RJ Mickens while you can, because we're going to feel that void when he's gone. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I really like this young safety group, but it's you can't teach the amount of experience that RJ has, and just he's just developed into a really, really strong player. You'd be in some trouble if you didn't have him this year, just because.
Oh yeah.
You don't have a neck even close to another proven guy like him back there right now.
No.
And your safety play when he wasn't on the field was part of the reason why you gave up two touchdowns in that fourth quarter.
Yep.
And gave up that backdoor cover. I'm sure Dabo was a little upset about that. And I'm sure those of you that had some moolah on the game were probably a little bit upset. But,
for sure. Some people lost some money with that backdoor cover.
Yep.
As soon as that dude was streaking down the field and caught the ball, everybody's like, oh, my God, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to make some of that money back, I suggest checking out Voice of College Football Bets. We'll be right back.
College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.
All right, you guys got to hear from our sponsor, Mark Rogers over at Voice of College Football Bets. Make sure to go check that out. The links are in the description if you are interested to make a little bit of money. These Tigers have been kind of up and down when it comes to the point spread. Probably should have covered today, but it is what it is. But yeah, make sure that you guys check that out. The link will be in the description at the end of the video. But with that being said, is there anything other standouts about this game, other observations that that kind of caught your eye? Or players that caught your eye from this game?
No, I think we kind of hit on all of them. Nobody else I could really think of. Last play I'll mention that sack by Avion Terrell was textbook. It was a thing of beauty. So I guess shout out to him and his continued growth as a cornerback for the Tigers. The quarterback had no chance on it. He tried to spin out of it, but it was, with the speed of Avion, it wasn't gonna end well for him.
No, absolutely. It was a great play call, really well dialed up. It was well disguised. I did not even expect him to come screaming off the edge like that.
I didn't know he was coming until he was tackling Calandria. That's when I knew he was coming. I was like, oh, okay. Guess we're blitzing here.
Yeah, and if I'm a quarterback, I don't know how you read that, because he took the perfect angle. He was just everything. He timed it up perfectly. That was a thing of beauty, and those are the things that you see from this team that make you like, oh man, you see how talented this group is, and how good when Wes is in his bag, how creative he can be with some of his pressure schemes, because it's not always just sending people. I mean, he'll do a lot of simulated pressures. You saw that a good bit today, and made Anthony Calandria get the ball out faster than he wanted to. So he knows how to do it. It's just sometimes this defense just gets really passive, and that's how you give up. You give up easy plays and some of the routine stuff. The routine plays aren't being made. So just cleaning that kind of stuff up will definitely go a long way with this group, because you've seen them do it. They can do it, and they did it for large portions of this game. But they have those mental lapses that you don't want to you can't afford to have against better opponents. So big game next week. We'll see how they'll get another chance to learn from this and kind of and get prepared for Louisville, because Louisville's going to have. I feel like you're going to get their best game. You saw how they played Miami today. So
yeah, I mean, look, Louisville's certainly not going to be scared of Clemson. They're going to go out there and give them their best shot. I think we're heading into a bye week now, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I said next week.
Yeah. Heading into our bye week, and then you come out of that bye week and you got Louisville, and it's a team that you saw what they did to Miami today. They're not going to be afraid of Clemson. They're going to go out there and give them their best shot, and it's definitely a team that's significantly more talented, I think, than a Virginia. So you gotta clean up some of the stuff on both sides of the ball. But definitely that finishing piece with the defense. I think in spurts this season that the defense has shown what we thought they would be, but it's just not quite as consistent as you would like it. So, I mean, I think we're going into the bye week pretty healthy and get some stuff corrected and move forward.
Yep. And I think, and the exciting thing is potentially you get, I feel pretty confident you'll get Bryant Wesco back, and potentially
Yes.
Tyler Brown in this offense. And I think those things, if you get those two back, I think it opens up a lot of things, for this offense. So
it'd be a real shot in the arm for the offense to get those two guys back. I mean, as good as the offense has been operating, it gets better when those two guys are in the lineup. Make no mistake about it. So
absolutely,
you get those two guys back coming out of the bye week, and just come out, continue to take care of your business.
Absolutely. And I think with that being said, I think it's about time to kind of see what you guys are talking about in the comment section, in the live chat. Of course, the super chat feature is available if you want to make sure that your comment is read. But we'll hang out with you guys for a little bit and then get on out of here. Want to scroll back a little bit. Yeah, John says Troy Stellato deserves a shout out for bailing out Cade a couple of times and nearly getting split in half of that one. Yeah, nobody gets more hospital balls. Nobody gets more just absolute. It's like he gets hit by a train every time. I don't know how he has like just a magnet. That just draws defenders to him. But I feel for that man. I don't know how he's still up. I was like, oh man, I thought he was gonna limp off the field on that.
I thought he was too. Yeah,
on that one hit, man.
It was a pretty brutal hit. But that's just Stellato, man. Like he gets nailed like that, and he just pops up like it was just a routine tackle. So I guess he's used to it by now. I don't know.
Yeah, he clearly is, because I mean he's tough, man. He's one of the toughest players on the team, and one of the toughest Clemson football players that I've seen, because I have not seen a receiver like him take that much punishment and keep going. He cannot avoid the big hit.
Yeah, no doubt. That dude is tough as nails, and yeah, K better be thankful for him. Like the comment says, he's definitely, he's definitely a reliable target, and you can give him some questionable balls, and he'll make you look right, and then take the punishment for him. So
Yeah.
It's always nice when you got a guy like that in your lineup.
Yep, and it's good and it's good because early in the season we were talking about just like, man, he's getting out there and he's not getting those targets, but now you're seeing him take advantage of Bryant Wesco being out, Adam Randall Bryant Wesco and Tyler Brown being out, but also Adam Randall being very limited. He didn't get a ton of run today. I think I saw Adam got one target towards the end of the game, and Cade just threw it at his legs. So whatever. But Troy has definitely taken advantage. But I hope that when you get Wesco and Brown and Randall fully back, that Troy is still heavily involved, because he's shown himself to be one of the most reliable players on the team, regardless of position. So just hope to see him more. And of course, TJ is continuing to develop, and he's getting more opportunities. He looks really good out there. He opened the game with that 22-yard gain. Really nice back shoulder throw from Cade. So, man, this receiving room, you've got a lot of talent. You got a lot of it, and in previous years, you would not be able to sustain the injuries that you've been able to sustain this year, because you just didn't have the depth, but now you do, and that's really, really exciting for the prospects of this offense and for Cade, and you potentially get all these guys back next year. So,
yeah, look, I mean, it definitely speaks to the depth of this team, and more specifically the wide receiver room, with the way that your offense has been able to operate with the key injuries to some skill guys. Because you're right, in past seasons, this would have completely destroyed the Clemson offense, basically. We would have been, hobbling through until those guys got back healthy, and they probably would have been rushed back and not fully healthy because we just needed them so much. But to have the luxury that Clemson has to be able to hold receivers like, yeah, they could go if we needed them, but we got other guys, so we don't really need them right now, so let them get fully healthy. That's such a luxury that we currently have on this team. And I think after the bye week, we probably get both those guys back, and it's going to be, like I said, a shot in the arm for the offense and the team overall. So it's going to be fun to watch. I hope, everybody gets healthy and everybody get back after the bye week, and we can complete the second half of the season, if you will, in similar fashion that these past, I guess, 6 games now have gone for the Tigers.
Absolutely. Hard Take says, I hope we didn't peak offensively too early, though. Hopefully we'll catch fire the rest of the season. I think not having Wesco to take the top off is difficult. Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think you certainly are not peaking right now. And that's the good. I think this offense is continuing to operate at a really high level mostly. But you don't even have all of your best guys. So I think, not having Bryant Wesco, it definitely does, eliminate a deep threat. But, this offense is still finding ways to create explosive plays and operate and move the ball and score points. And ultimately, that's all that matters. I mean, not every drive has to be a 60-yard touchdown pass. So, like, being able to do that and having guys that can do that is a big deal. But this offense is operating. This offense is showing that it can operate without needing a bunch of chunk plays, and they can get first down after first down and finish in the red zone and score points. So
Yep.
that's the really exciting thing, and that's what they weren't able to do last year. Because I mean, ultimately, that's how teams have played you for a while now. It's like, okay, we're gonna play everything, keep everything in front of us and hope you screw up. But this offense isn't screwing up most of the time. So
yeah, exactly.
Hey,
taking really good care of the ball this year.
Yep.
Cade, outside of that one, big time mistake today, but otherwise, for the most part, this season has been a great decision maker for this team, and operating within, what the defense gives you, not trying to force things. And you're right. That's what this offense has showed the ability to do this year. And when you can win multiple ways, when you can win being explosive, and then when people try to take your explosive plays away, when you can win with, 10, 12 play methodical drives and finish, you're a tough team to beat. And
Yep.
they've demonstrated it so far this year that they can win a multitude of ways and with a multitude of different type of guys.
Absolutely. Just that they have a lot of versatile weapons, and that's what you haven't had. You have some dynamic skill sets at wide receiver. You have some dynamic skill sets at running back and tight end, and you have a quarterback that's capable of getting them the football. And you couple that with the best offensive line that you've had in quite some time, and that's the recipe for a really, really strong offense.
No doubt. No doubt.
Tickle Tiger says backups getting crucial experience will benefit us greatly down the stretch and next year. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's ultimately the goal. Like, I don't want them to stop putting the backups in just because they're just because they gave up points. Like, you need to get those guys out there. They need to be playing, because they're not all of those guys you're going to be relying on next year, but there's some of them that you'll need to kind of step up in the absence of guys that'll be gone after this year. So, just continuing to get those guys that experience is, but we're going to, gripe and moan about them not playing well when they get out there. But ultimately, that's more teach tape and more for them to grow from. So, hopefully the goal is to, when they do get out there, you start to see a little bit of an improvement in performance, and because in that way, and that's how you get a more complete team. Because, in the past, especially during the playoff runs, I mean, when you put your backups in, they would give up points sometimes, but they would also get stops. And your backup, and same with your backup offense. Your backup offense would move the ball, and chew clock and operate at a consistent level, not necessarily at the level of the first teamers, but you were able to move the ball, and guys were executing at a better level. So that's you just have not been able to do that the past few seasons, and so now it's kind of a new thing again, getting the backups in and giving them like not necessarily meaningful reps in terms of like in-game situations, but giving them an opportunity to run the normal offense for an extended drive. And so I think the goal is for them to continue to improve and get better from that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And not only, to your point, not only next year, you don't know your injury situation for the rest of the season, right?
Right.
Guys can the old cliche saying, right? You're one rolled ankle away from playing when you're a backup, right? So, as painful as it is and frustrating as fans to watch some of these mistakes happen, and these, backdoor covers and, late fourth quarter touchdowns, and, as tough as that stuff is to watch, it truly is, a crucial part of growing your depth and developing your roster and all of that stuff. And who knows, you may have to rely on, one or two of the, you hope you don't have to, but you never know what's going to happen in the future, even this season. So you have to, when you get opportunities to get those guys game reps, you gotta run them out there. You gotta let them make their mistakes, and you gotta coach them up, because you may need them sooner than you would like to need them. So
Good Lord,
it's good to have the luxury to be able to roll your second team out there and get them significant snaps in a game. And we've been able to do it a lot this season so far. And that's a huge plus.
Man, Ryan Williams is so good. They just scored. Bama just scored.
That dude's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're fielding questions, I just had a thought. Like, how many more times can Miami go up against the wire and keep coming out on top? Like, if I'm a Miami fan, I'm worried because like eventually it feels like you have to drop one of these games, like eventually, right? And I'm not rooting against Miami. I'm not hating on them or anything like that, but like it just seems that Miami can't have a game where they pull away at all. They just like down to the wire, like almost every single game for like the past 3 games at this point. So
Yep.
it just feels like you gotta, if you're Miami, and I know this ain't a Miami channel, but it feels like if you're Miami, you gotta start playing better, man, because one of these teams is gonna come up and get you.
Yeah, I mean the luck is eventually. I mean, I don't want to. I shouldn't say luck, but there is a lot of data that one possession. Your performance in one possession games is more a product. Is more 50-50 than really. Some teams are better at winning one possession games than others, but over the all in all, there's not really any rhyme or reason between what team wins a one possession game. So your Miami's been riding a really, really thin line right now. I don't know what's up with their defense. Like I know they've had a couple of guys out, but they've been giving up explosive pass plays to everybody. Cal was hitting big plays on them. Louisville today was hitting big plays on them. Virginia Tech was hitting big plays on them. And at a certain point, you're like, okay. Miami has been the team that's been billed as the team to beat in the ACC simply because they haven't lost a game. I feel like the conversation around them would be a lot different if Clemson was 6-0 and not 5-1 with the loss to Georgia. Like that's really the only thing separating. I mean, I think the odds are starting to reflect it because I think Miami was the favorite at one point, and now I think they're co-favorites at this point. It's like plus 150 between the two. But I don't know. I think they need to start having. We need to start having a more serious conversation about Miami and like, okay, they're good. I think Miami is a good team, but I think they are riding a really thin line, and they're not the world beaters their fan base thinks they are, and they're not the world beaters maybe some people in the media are propping them up to be. They have some problems defensively, especially. I mean, Cam Ward is really, really good, and that offense is, they're scoring points, but defensively they've gotten exposed for 3 straight games. So I don't know, man. Regardless, Clemson from a Clemson standpoint, you don't play them in the regular season, so. It's about winning your games and letting the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, all we got to do is take care of business, and we will have all the opportunities to go as far as we want to go. So,
right.
What Miami does doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things at all. But it's just, at a certain point, it feels like your luck in those 1-point games or one possession games, excuse me, is definitely going to run out. You can't keep going up to that point without falling over the ledge eventually.
Yep. The very few. I mean, there's usually teams that ride this line. They get got eventually. So we'll see if Miami is an exception, but they might
be. We'll see.
They very well might be. We've seen some teams that just flat out towed the line all year and came out on 2016 Clemson was a team that rode the line a lot and ended up winning the national championship. Yeah, so
that team wanted to give us heart attacks, man.
Yeah.
I remember Dabo talking about that team about, they just wanted to kind of fast forward to the playoffs and the national championship. And, unfortunately, that's not how it works. You got to play through the season. So, but yeah, we probably should have lost one more game than we did lose that season, just because of the way that we played a lot of teams. games were far too close.
Yeah,
Based off
NC
of
State,
how good.
Troy, Louisville. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you did lose to Pitt. Like,
Yeah, you lost to Pitt at home.
yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely a season of anxiety for a lot of those games.
100%. But they definitely found and played their best ball at the end, and obviously we know what happened after that. So, it is some teams are just able to ride that line and put it all together. I don't see 2016 Clemson in Miami for sure. So, I don't think that's a team that's. I think if they don't clean some things up, it'll catch up to them. But that's the thing. If they clean it up and they play better football, then I think they'll run the table. But if not, I think if they keep playing the way they had been in every single game moving forward, yeah, they're eventually going to drop one, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
John says, I think Cade had his third best rated game. Nothing will ever match App State, but I think only his NC State game resulted in a higher rating compared to today. And I'll have to go back and look at the stat. I don't know what his passer rating was. I know QBR, they have to go. QBR is a manually graded stat. So they have, I don't know exactly. They have a whole formula, but and some of it is based off of, context of a throw and it's not exactly a PFF grade, but it's there's some elements to that. So usually those don't get figured out until later. So I'll have to go look. But yeah, I get his passer rating was probably pretty good because that's all stats derived. And he was 22 for what was he? I just had it up. 23 of 35, 308. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, almost 9 yards per attempt. Yeah, that'll be a pretty good passer rating overall. So I'd have to go look. Dylan said it didn't seem like Cade threw a lot of downfield passes this game. It was more of a screenplay and run game most of the time. I mean, they took they tried to create some shot plays, and they did attempt attempt a few. But it just Virginia was very, very hell bent on not giving up anything over the top. They didn't take a ton of risks as far as just leaving guys on islands. They were a lot of too high stuff from what I saw. So they did not want to get beat like they saw NC State get beat. Or App State, like they did not want to see guys just streaking wide open down the field. And even then, there you had some opportunities. You had Jake Brenningstool. I mean, Cade had Jake Brenningstool wide open down the seam over the middle, and he didn't. He looked him off and threw it underneath. Which I mean, it was still you still got like 5 yards on the play, but could have had potentially a touchdown. So there were opportunities in this game, and then some of them you didn't hit. The one I mentioned that was called for pass interference to TJ, that would have been a touchdown. So it wasn't like they didn't try to take shots. They did draw some up, but Cade either checked it down or it was incomplete / pass interference. So. But I think if teams are going to continue to play you like that, you have to you got to say, okay, well, then we're fine with getting 10, 15 yard gains and not 30, 40 plus yard gains. I think that's because ultimately football is the take what the defense gives you cliche is a cliche, but it's also a lot of football. There's no defense that's designed to stop everything. There's just impossible especially with the constraints of the rules nowadays. You're going to give up something, and so it's good. And good offenses know how to recognize what the defense is giving up, taking advantage of it. And Clemson did that on the large for the most part in this game. Let's do a couple more. Yeah, Tickle Tiger mentioning that run play. He brought it in the heavy package on 4th down. Yeah, Peter Woods, man, putting him in at fullback, man. If I were I don't know, man. I would not want to attempt, attempt going at him and meeting him in the hole because he swallowed that dude up. That was so bad, and then and I think that was also the play where Smiley for Virginia got ejected. That whole situation was weird. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What happened there with the injection and everything? I kind of um, looked up at the softball game I was watching at the time and kind of missed the original thing. And then when they went back and showed the replay, it wasn't real clear like why he was so amped up and irritated.
Yeah, I watched the replay and it was still it wasn't when they showed the replay, I was trying to find him and then I kind of I missed the back end of it. I think like Tristan Lay, he got mad at. I think he tackled Tristan Lay or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, but I didn't see why he was so mad at Tristan Lay or what happened to cause him to just absolutely lose his mind.
Yeah, he probably got bodied and got upset.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was figuring, but I didn't know if anybody else had because like I said, I missed it live. So, and then they didn't do a real good job on the replay of kind of showing what happened. It was hard to know who he was because it was so zoomed out when they showed the replay.
Yeah, that whole thing was weird. And then you saw Tony on the sideline trying to calm him down.
That dude was hot.
Yeah,
he was not listening to anybody. He was like, "No,
yeah, there were some chippy moments in this game. It was something.
You could definitely see the extra juice, the extra emotion in this game. It wasn't just your run of the mill, ACC matchup between Clemson and Virginia, because there's really no real, significant history or bad blood there. So it was definitely due to, Tony Elliott coming back home and, that extra juice. And I'm sure they wanted to, do their best to win for their coach. And so you can definitely see the added emotion to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get some fresher comments because good Lord, I'm way behind. I'm
gonna take a couple more and then I'm gonna hop off of here, Jordan.
Yeah. Jay said we'd be more critical of the defense this year if the offense didn't show so much improvement. Yeah, you're probably right. But I think at the same time, if the offense didn't show so much improvement, I think it would be the defense's struggles would just be more. They would be glaringly obvious anyway. I think because ultimately this offense has picked up the defense. I mean they've picked up each other at multiple points this year, and so. That's better than one side, just always playing terrible. And so
absolutely,
I think complementary football is a part of making sure your defense looks good, and so and you're definitely seeing a lot more of that. But yeah, I mean the defense, all in all, I think this is a good defense that has really bad lapses. At times, and that's just getting the bad lapses out is I mean the bad lapses are keeping this defense from being keeps them from being great to elite. You're just pretty good because on a down to down basis, the numbers say this defense is really good. And you're number one in defensive drive efficiency in the ACC. Points per drive, yards per play. Like a lot of the per play metrics and stuff that you talk about, like Clemson is pretty good in, but it's just the little things that they don't do well that causes you to give up big plays or give up scores when you probably shouldn't have, and that's ultimately why we feel the way about the defense that we've had. So it really is just about cleaning up some of the little things, because I think on a down-to-down basis, this defense has been pretty good. But
yeah, I think they certainly have.
Dylan says for most of the game we contained their top wide receiver Malachi Fields. He only got open once for a touchdown. Yeah, and that was at the end of the game. Yeah, I thought the corners did a really good job with him. He did not have a lot of space to work with. Did not kill you. He didn't really kill you at all. And then by the time he scored in the fourth quarter, it was too late. So yeah, really, really good. He's a really good football player. But they wrapped him up. When he did catch the football, he did not get anything after the catch. They tried to give him a couple of one-on-one opportunities, some jump ball stuff that was not successful at all. It was good coverage. Jaden Lucas broke up a couple, was in on a couple of them. Just really, really good in phase. Malachi Fields almost had a one-handed catch, but it was really good coverage by Jaden. Yeah, I thought the corners were really good today on the whole. So just continue to see that growth from them. Yeah. And I think I'm happy for Jaden, because I feel like he gets a bad rap sometimes, because I think all in all he's been solid in coverage this year, but he's had some plays hit on him. And I mean, the fans who don't watch the game with a more critical eye are like, oh man, why is Jaden still out there? And but he's really good this year. And there's a reason he plays as much as he does. He's very, very talented. And his size and length, you see when he breaks up balls and is competitive against a team's like X receiver. That's why he's out there, because he brings you that size and length that Avion Terrell just flat out doesn't have. And so, yeah, a really good day for J. Lou. Hope to continue to see him, build on that performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the past two games that he's put together after that Florida State game, where he kind of got pulled for a freshman Ashton Hampton, I think it just shows how good he is, and his mental toughness to bounce back from essentially getting benched mid-game because you just weren't playing well. So
yep.
Shout out to him. That's not an easy thing to do. So that's tough. But all right, Jordan, I think I'm gonna hop off of here.
All right.
I'm gonna go finish up and watch the rest of this game. Hopefully we can pull it out and get into the championship game. But thank you guys all for showing up in the live chat, chopping it up with us. Hit that like button while you're in here. Consider subscribing. Don't forget, me and Jordan do the All-In Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Jordan, thanks for running the show, and I appreciate you, man.
You too, man. Y'all win that softball game, because I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna send a text later. I better
That's
get
right.
good.
I'll let you know. I got to go catch up and figure out what the score is right now. So,
all right.
I'll let you know.
All right. Later, man.
All right. Later, brother.
All right. I'll do one more, and then I'll get on out of here myself and wrap it up. John and the Hard Take talking about Antonio Williams. Yeah. That was a really good. I mean, it's cool to see them, just drawing up those plays, getting opportunities like that. Of course, it's like, and now we know it's not a Cade thing when it comes to the Troy Stellato hospital balls. It's just it's a natural law of the universe for Troy Stellato just to get the worst balls imaginable. Pause. And get absolutely laid out. So, but he keeps getting on back up, and yeah, Antonio Williams, another really big day. You got that rushing touchdown. I was kind of upset, because I was like, man, if it was a pop pass and not a jet sweep, it would have counted as a passing touchdown for Cade. But good for Antonio. Just it continues to make big plays. He had that really nice route on that third down, just completely broke that safety. I was like, good Lord, man. He's the way Antonio gets in and out of his breaks and just the suddenness of his routes. Yeah, that's we have not seen that from a Clemson wide receiver in a long time. He's special. He's one of the best. I put out a tweet earlier during the game. I was like, he's one of the best route runners I've ever seen come through here. He's special. I was like, I hope he doesn't mess around and get drafted this year. I want that to wait another year because if it would be really nice to get him and Cade and this wide receiver room back for another season because you can only imagine. Oh, Jacob's coming in. He says, "Good afternoon, every one of you. What a good win, Clemson. It got heated at the end, though. Yeah, man, that was something." And he says, "What can we say about number 7, Phil? Had another good game." Yeah, he did. He continues to just be steady Eddie. Phil Maffa, man. He's on pace to have a 1,100, 1,200 yard season. Glad, and he's getting the touchdown number up because he was sitting at 2 for a little bit, but he's had 2 in the last 2. I think the last 2 games he's had 2 touchdowns, so he's getting his stats up. Love to see it. He's getting this, and hopefully, kind of building his all ACC case because I definitely think I would be very upset if he was not an all ACC running back because he deserves it. All right. I think that's going to do it for me, y'all. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Me and Tiger Paw Craven, we do these live shows after every Clemson football game. And of course, we have the All-In show every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So those of you that are new, consider subscribing, turn on the notifications so you know when we go live. But until then, I'm Jordan Bowman, and go Tigers.